who are you? You got a great accent. I'm very jealous. I know you're from
Thank
the
you.
South, so just introduce yourself to the people, and who is Austin Rains?
So my name's Austin Rains. I'm from the Midwest. I like to hunt and fish. I'm an avid outdoorsman. Like to play a little blackjack. We just had about that. Big baseball player. Used to. I love baseball. Love all sports, basketball, football. Um, but my bugaboo is business, and being outside, just being in the outdoors, whether it's in the industry or whether it's just in the field.
All right, so entrepreneur. What do you hunt?
So I'm avid bow hunter. I
Bow
really,
hunter. Okay.
yeah, I like to say I like to catch them all, but big bow hunter, big duck hunter. I hunt everything. I live out on 700 acres. So I mean, with that, you've always got a gun in your hand. You're always toting a shotgun, pistol, whatever. So whether it's a bird, a duck, or a rabbit, or coyote, I've shot them all, harvested them all, I should say.
Now, do you eat? Do you eat? Now I see you guys. I think it
No.
looks like a stuffed deer above you over there.
Yeah,
But so you there it is. You save all the meat you eat and like preserve the animal and make sure it doesn't go to waste.
yeah. So for sure, we definitely don't let anything go to waste. I mean, living out in the country, I'm about 30 minutes from town, 30 minutes from my office at that. And so sometimes you run out of food by accident. Like sometimes you've already made two trips into town and you don't want to go back into town and you don't have nothing to eat. Luckily, excuse me, being an outdoorsman, that kind of puts you in the position where, hey, we've got the freezer downstairs. You killed a deer, last year or a month ago, what have you. And it's lean, clean, meat, protein. It's not like this stuff you buy from the store
Right.
that's jam packed with all the stuff that they give them.
So like one thing that always confused me about hunting is like the seasons, right? So like it's deer season
Yeah,
when you can hunt deer. How do they determine what is and isn't season in season? Is that a state by state thing, or like, do you know how any of that works?
yeah. So I mean, don't quote me, but most of the states. So like, we'll start with deer, for example. Uh, they kind of. I don't know if there's really a rhyme or reason to it, but it starts in the fall with a lot of states around September.
Yeah.
The colder states, it starts earlier in September, and then it kind of tears down throughout the South as things gets cold. But there's really no rhyme or reason to the deer seasons as into the season dates. But with duck season, you kind of look at the migration. The migration starts, all the way in Canada. That's where the birds, they do their nesting and all that. Then they come down the Mississippi Flyway or whichever flyway they take. And for for me, it's the Mississippi Flyway. Anybody along the Mississippi River, it's going to be that flyway. So yeah, so they base it from there. They started, Minnesota down. They kind of just tear it down, starting from October. Like for us, we start around Thanksgiving. From me south all the way into Arkansas. Louisiana, they all start. Around Thanksgiving.
So when it comes to hunting, I remember a podcast last year for the Ambiguous podcast session. I talked to a man named Jason. His last name's escaping, but he's a conservationalist based in Pennsylvania, and he's a big hunter. He's a big gun nut, obviously, because he's like, hunting is halfway for preserving wildlife as well as killing it. Kind of sounds counterintuitive to preserve through killing, but you
Yeah.
have these different states where invasive species where you have to kill. Like I think boar is a huge problem in Texas, or cougars are a big problem in California. So
Yep.
where do you think the like negative connotation with hunters actually comes from, when really it's done for a purpose, for multiple
It's done
purposes?
for
And
a purpose.
hunters are very misunderstood people. Like I respect the hell out of hunters. I could never do it.
Well, I appreciate that. It takes a lot, and it is very challenging. It's kind of this like it's you're challenging yourself as a person, really.
Yeah.
Because from all the different weather, from snow, rain, are you going to be able to stay out there all day, or are you going to have to tuck your tail in and go back to the house because you're too cold, too wet, whatever? But the conservation side of hunting for me is the largest aspect. I mean, that's you got a full year, and hunting season's only 60 days. So other than that, outside of that 60 days, what, like 290 or whatever? I can't do quick math. Like 365 days in a year, 60 days. So the other 305 days of the year.
Yeah, 305. Come on, man. Come on, man. You run your own business. You can't do basic math.
No, I can. But so anyways, it's all conservation focused. I mean,
Right.
did you hear me correct myself? Like, I think the bad rap people get is you're a killer, like you're a killer, and you're here to kill this animal. That's all they put the blinders on. That's all they see, and that's what people, I guess today's day and age kind of portrays it that way.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not that. It's definitely more conservation than anything, really. It's I really get off on the conservation side. I love planting food plots for deer. Like we'll keep that crop up and just let the animals eat it, and it's really fun. I could really talk about that whole subject and niche all day long.
I mean, you get a real respect for nature and wildlife too. But let's kind of go towards the business side now. Hunters, can you make money hunting? Like, are there competitions? Like, how do like professional hunters actually make a living?
So sponsors, just like on,
that makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah. So it's just like broadcasting. It's you're doing it with the industry, the outdoor industry, working for other companies and market their equipment, stuff to that nature. And I've had my fair share of sponsorships through the years, but some people anymore with the hunting industry, and this is just for people that love hunting. It's like a race, who can be the best hunter, this and that. Don't get wrapped up in all that trying to get sponsored, because it takes the fun out, unless you want to do it for a living. Unless you want to, you could open up a guide service and be a guide too, and I do that often. I go down to a place, Mow Ducks, and I got a place over here in Illinois, Grassy Lake Hunting Club. So there's money in it if you own property, and that's the thing these days is property's hard to find. Well, if you own property, you can guide, but if you don't own property, you're going to have to be a public land hunter, and that's a huge misconception. And a lot of people kind of tend to forget about the vast amounts of public property that America has to offer. And yeah, no, I really get off. It's self-filming my hunts on public ground, like this buck right here. I boated in. Let's see if we can get a better little view of it.
Let's see it. Oh, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful animal.
Appreciate it. Yeah. So like that animal, I had watched it for months, and you don't want to kill it. That's the hardest part is, I slung an arrow into it about 10 yards, and it didn't, it's not feeling, I'm sure it felt it, but he did the old 1-2 kick, took off, ran straight towards my boat. But if you knew how much effort that I had into just that one buck, I was boating into a swamp about 2 miles, packing in my camera equipment, and I got a little tripod that mounts to a tree. And then, I got all my hunting gear, and, it's just me. So that's the trick. And then you're on public ground on top of that. So it's like the ultimate trophy is killing a buck at that caliber on public ground, especially self-filming and boating in. It's a lot of work.